Hello and welcome to Craftcast. Welcome back. As always, I have with me
Sean
and James.
And of course, as always, all of you listeners, thank you for joining us. Guys, how have we been? James, let's start with you.
Very good, thank you. Another early morning session for me this morning for the love of the show. But love to be with you all and our listeners. Well, I've been up for an hour and a half now. So,
yeah, what time did you get up, James, in your neck of the woods? What time was it?
I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning for a 6 o'clock call for this.
Well, let me tell you something, my friend. As the father of a 3-year-old, that's pretty much the afternoon. All right.
Yeah.
So,
I'm led to believe it will get easier. I have no experience in this regard, but I'm told by friends it does get easier.
Yeah, to be fair, mine's pretty good. I'm joshing with you. And how is it over there? Is it? Have you got any Freemasonry in while you've been over there?
I have. So in our first episode, I referenced the fact that we were I was in Bloomington, Indiana. And whilst I was there, I managed to get 2 lodge meetings in at Monroe Lodge, number 22 in the Grand Lodge of Indiana. So I saw a initiation, first degree ceremony the first day I was there. And then the following week, they did a 3rd degree ceremony, which I've already mentioned this before because I've been there previously, but it is an incredibly theatrical event. When you watch a 3rd degree ceremony in the US Constitution Lodge, it's incredibly well acted out. So for those that know the story of the 3rd degree, for the Master Masons listening, it's incredibly dramatic at home anyway, but it's extremely dramatic in a US Constitution Lodge because the entire thing, it's not just sort of told to the candidate with a little bit of dramatics. It's absolutely acted out from start to finish, the entire story. So one, it's extremely long, but 2, it's very enjoyable. And so if anybody gets the opportunity to go and see one after checking with your provincial Grand Secretary and Chancellery that it's okay to do so, I would encourage you to do that because it is something worth seeing for sure.
And is that the same across the US?
Yeah, each state has its own version of their rituals. So there are some minor variations, but of course, to all of us who know what happens in the 3rd degree listening, the narrative is the same, of course, but the way it's delivered is just very different. And it's not that I've got a preference for one over the other.
It's just interesting to see the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see it done in a different way.
I was lucky enough last year. Was it last year or the year before? I can't even remember. The years fly by. I went up to Derby to see a demonstration of a Scottish 3rd degree. Yeah, I completely agree with you, James.
I was going to say it's very similar because I think a lot of US lodges kind of get their roots from the Scottish Constitution.
Yes.
And so a lot of that is built into the way they do things.
Well, we actually, in Gibraltar, because we have English, Irish and Scottish, because we have those 3 constitutions in one place, meaning in one building, we sort of say that if you're visiting, you should watch an Irish first, an English second, and a Scottish third. That's just a colloquial thing that we say because of how theatrical the Irish first is, the Scottish third, and how direct and efficient the English second is.
Yeah.
Stephen, I know this isn't a very good question for a podcast because it's referencing something that I can see. But is that either a picture of the Duke of Edinburgh and the Queen, or is that the Whatleys that I can see behind your head on the wall?
No, what you can see is a picture you'd have seen before of the Duke of Edinburgh and the late Duke of Edinburgh and the late Queen. But yes, I am currently in the Masonic building in Gibraltar. So
I must say I found it hilarious earlier, Stephen, when you were saying I'm just setting up in the District Grand Secretary's office. You mean Dad's office.
Well, I have been very privileged to have been granted access temporarily for this podcast. So otherwise, I don't get to see the inside of this office.
No.
When they let you bring your teddy bear with you, which I can also
Yes,
see.
I have a teddy bear.
Goes everywhere with him. I've taken up so much time here on my opening, but Stephen, Sean, everything good with you? Yes?
All good, James. We know where we stand.
Nice to know you care about us too.
Yeah, we know where we stand.
I do.
No, all good, seriously. And Stephen, same with you, I presume?
Yep, all good. As we've spent so long talking about James, why don't we just move on to our episode?
Should we actually get into it? Because this is this is again a topic that we've sort of flagged previously. That's probably something, and we've done episodes previously on accessibility within Freemasonry, and we had which I thought was an excellent episode, the interview with Graham Chisnell around neurodiversity within Freemasonry, and I think really we're very keen this series, to look at taking that a step further and looking, for example, at people with visual impairments. And when we were looking at someone to talk to, one name kept coming up, and that was a chap called Clive Jones, who's a Freemason from Shropshire. Clive is a blind former soldier and a past master of St Mary's Lodge in the province of Shropshire. I think it's fair to say he's been an inspiring figure in both the worlds of Freemasonry and also blind archery, which we're going to get into a bit later on. But chaps, shall we have a conversation with Clive about all things Freemasonry, all things blind archery, and just how he's found his way? We talk about it all, and just how he found his way through what on the surface would seem like a challenging situation.
Yes, let's do this.
Good.
Let's go.
Well, Clive, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us on Craftcast. It's wonderful to have you. Hope you're well.
I'm very well, thank you. And yourselves?
Yes, very good, thank you.
He's sunning himself in America. Of course he's good.
I know, it's beautiful. It is beautiful, although dark at the moment. Clive, we always sort of start with this question about your sort of journey into Freemasonry and what attracted you into the craft. So can you just talk to us about your journey into Masonry, what inspired you to join? And then maybe if you could just talk to us as well about sort of the unique challenges and opportunities of being a Mason who's also blind as well. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always been interested in Freemasonry. I've always had a love really of the Crusades and things like that. And it was when I was blinded back in 2000, I went to a charity for blinded ex-servicemen and women called St Dunstan's, which is now called Blind Veterans UK. And they had an activity week for, the members. And it was on that group that I found that out of 23 attending, 19 of them were actually Freemasons. And it was from there on in, I got talking. And, within 2 or 3 weeks, I was actually, had guests at my door just asking me if I was still interested in joining sort of Freemasonry in Shropshire, which I jumped at because it's something I've always wanted to do. Being blind poses a few challenges, as I'm sure you can appreciate. But no, I mean, in the Shropshire province, I've had no issues with it at all. I mean, I'm treated like everybody else, and the amount of help and support I do get is wonderful. So, I mean, that's where I stand at the moment. And as I say, it's glad that I've actually taken the leap and actually became a Mason back 20 years ago.
It's always interesting to me that Masonry, whilst it's this incredibly old society, we always, I think, go out of our way to be accommodating to our members and our members' needs, and to try and break down any barriers which could be seen to be in place for somebody to enjoy their experience in the craft. I'm sure, Clive, there have been some adaptations that you've had to make or that have been made for you in order to support your journey.
Yeah, I mean, initially when I was initiated, I didn't want anything changed because I didn't think it was right. But as I've gone up through the offices within the lodge, I mean, I have had help. I mean, I was guided from behind when I was a deacon, and I was helped along the way, and now I find myself, I just come out of 3 years as Tyler. Now, a blind guy with a sword, that's quite funny. But yeah, I mean, now I'm ADC, the lodge, St. Mary's Lodge is just fantastic. I mean, they don't see me as blind, but they do realize that I have needs. And, ADC, I mean, we did a 3rd degree last night, and that was fun, and I was acting as DC. Yeah, I mean, they adapt quite well. And as I say, but I try not to have too many adaptations if I can. I mean, with DC, I'll do all the voice work, all the ritual, and, you know, my other ADC will actually go and do things that need to be perambulated around the lodge, so therefore I don't fall over, or therefore, you know, it's not embarrassing for the candidate or anybody else.
Well, I was just about to ask, you know, as an ADC, or in fact last night DC of a lodge, that's obviously a fairly physical role to an extent. So how do you sort of navigate those responsibilities, and do you need any adaptations, or is it just that sometimes when it's perambulating for someone, then you just hand over to your assistant?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, the ADC last night would have done the perambulations with candidates, or taken it, you know, whatever needs to be done around the lodge. It's easier, but it works very, very well. So, you know, as I say, nobody wants to embarrass anybody, and if it's just nice for everybody to get involved as well.
Yeah, Clive, I'm sure there are people tuning into this who, you know, are fascinated and very grateful for you to talk so openly about it. I don't think we're anywhere near, and I think we're open about it. We're nowhere near being perfect with it. What do you think there's more that Freemasonry can do in general? Do you think there's anything that Freemasonry can do more to help blind members, visually impaired members enjoy their Freemasonry and get as much out of it as they possibly can?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, blind members join the craft simply because they want to be in the craft. So I had my proposer actually send me emails with all the ritual that I needed to actually learn, which was great. But if there was, you know, an accessible format, you know, like an audio MP3 book, you know, on CD, because it's not just helping those who are blind, it's those who do have the likes of, you know, dyslexia, and even those who work long hours that can listen to it in the car. It's just a case of having it, you know, in an audio format, so that we can actually, you know, learn along the way as well.
I think that's a really good example, Clive, of what we talk about in the strategy for Freemasonry when we think about the yes-if attitude. And actually, whilst that's not been done before, I'm sure you're a lodge level or a provincial level, or even beyond that, there is scope to support with doing that. But as with everything in Freemasonry, I think it always starts as a bottom-up organisation.
Yeah, a dear friend of mine in Shropshire, I mean, he's wrote several books now on the 5-minute ritualist, Kim March, you know, and he's done that, and he's on his 3rd book published now. I mean, they're wonderful books, even going back to the actual ritual book itself. If they were made in an audible format, it would help everybody, I think.
Well, I imagine it's also just not people who are visually impaired, but just people who learn better through audio. I mean, everyone learns differently, right?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, how I learn my work is I learn the word. I dictate the words from my computer into a dictaphone, and then I learn via my own voice.
See, my mum isn't visually impaired, and that's how she likes to learn it as well. She likes to record her own voice and then hear it back.
Yeah, I mean, because as I'm sure you're aware, then I mean, the screen reader software, the voices on there aren't that great. It's a long-winded way of doing it, but I like to listen to my own voice then when I'm learning the ritual. The accessibility, I think if we could just get, you know, the ritual, you know, in a accessible format for those who are blind and have visual impairments, then I think it would be a massive step forward. And it would even, in my opinion, attract more, you know, visually impaired or blind people to the craft.
Clive, I'm always interested in people that take on the role of DC. You know, I'm a provincial deputy DC for a little bit longer.
Are you?
What is it about that? Yeah, did you not know? What is it about that role specifically that sort of appeals to you? What is it about being a DC or an ADC that you find attractive? Is something that you want to do in your lodge? Because I always find it fascinating people's reasons for wanting to take that rather large job on.
I was asked to be the ADC by the new Worshipful Master, and I thought that's going to have its problems. That's going to have its challenges, and that's the reason why I took it. I like to challenge myself, whether it be with, Masonic stuff or life in general. I mean, at the end of the day, life is an education, and you've just got to challenge yourself every day. And that is the reason why I took on the ADC role. And with the fact that I had to step up last night for, to be the DC, I mean, that was, again, in itself, a challenge.
Yeah, it's very interesting, Clive. I mean, reading your story, and I would encourage anybody listening to this to go away and look at some of the amazing things that you've done previously, both away from Freemasonry, but also, I guess, interlinked with Freemasonry. And something that really struck me was your work with Blind Veterans UK. And I just wanted to take the opportunity really to ask you, what impact has that had on both your life more generally, as well as your journey through Freemasonry?
Yeah, well, Blind Veterans itself, I mean, as I said, initially when I first joined, it was St. Dunstan's. And it's changed its name to Blind Veterans UK now. And it's a wonderful, wonderful charity. It effectively gave me my life back. I was a 26-year-old man, totally blind, effectively left as a screaming child. I couldn't do anything for myself. Things you take for granted, making a cup of tea, stuff like that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it on my own. And, so they taught me how to live independently again. And it's been a wonderful journey for me, with Blind Veterans UK. And since then, I mean, we've had a Masonic group. So we have a group of Freemasons that are totally blind or visually impaired. And they've been involved with the charity since 1938. Now, in 2015, I took over as chairman, secretary, treasurer, everything really of the group. But no, so unfortunately, I mean, because of the demographic, really, I mean, when I took over, I was 32 as chair. But as I say, I'm now 50, and I've been doing it ever since, and it's great. But as you say, the Masonic group it's a wonderful group, and you get Masons from all over the country. Some are totally blind like myself. Some have a visual impairment. And the beautiful thing is you have different province, different ritual, different, ways of working. But we all come together, and it's just fantastic. It really is. And we're sort of hosted by the Temple Lodge down in Brighton. So, and they sponsor us, and they look after us very, very well. And with me being the chairman of it as well, I get to meet a lot of other Masons around the country, as well as, members of the charity. So it's a very good thing for me. It helps me socially, and it helps me with my Masonry.
How many people are in it, Clive? How many would you estimate are in the group at the moment?
Well, in the group, before COVID, we had, I think it was 14. COVID hit, I was left with 2. So I've had to rebuild, but now we will meet now in April down at the Blind Veterans Rustington Centre of Wellbeing. I've got 6 members who are coming, but I've had 1 or 2 that say they'd love to be there but can't make the date. So hopefully in the future I can start rebuilding the group and get back to, hopefully as many as we had previously, if not more.
I'm sure I speak on behalf of the other guys that were very sorry for your loss as well. I don't know if you know Brother Sam Proctor, but he's a member of my university's lodge, and he's blind. And I think we probably initiated his guide dog about 5 times now. But he's going to be my successor at my university's lodge, actually. So I'm very much looking forward to installing him. I'm sure he'd love to hear about it, so I'll put you guys in touch.
Oh, please do. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I hope that this specifically will obviously, as an audio format as well, will be listened to by other Masons who are visually impaired across the country, and hopefully, I'm sure we'll have your details and the details to contact to get involved in this, or at least find out more on the episode website. So so I'm sure you'll, I hope this will facilitate you getting quite an additional influx in your membership.
And Clive, Stephen said there that we're going to put the details on the episode page, but just in the spirit of keeping things audio only as well, for the visually impaired listener, how can people get in touch with you if they wish to get information about the group and maybe want to join it? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, obviously, first and foremost, you have to be a member of Blind Veterans UK. That means you have to be a blind former soldier, sailor, airman. We take sort of, the charity takes national servicemen, women, everything. I mean, so if you're not a member of Blind Veterans UK and you are suffering with sight loss, then first and foremost, please get in touch with Blind Veterans UK, because the help they can give you is phenomenal. Once you are a member, and if you are an existing member of the charity now, then please get in touch with me via my email, which is dragoneye67@sky.com. That's Dragoneye spelled Delta Romeo Alpha Golf Oscar November Echo Yankee Echo. For those members who are a member of a charity, they will also be able to get my contact details out of the Review, which is a magazine that is published every month. So those who are in the charity should already be able to get my details from that magazine.
That's great. Thank you, Clive. Clive, I would not be forgiven if I didn't use this opportunity to ask you about something beyond Freemasonry. And you've obviously achieved extraordinary success in para archery, recently competing in the British Blind Sport Outdoor National Championship and representing Great Britain at numerous international events. With a silver medal at the IBSA World Games and a current ranking of number 4 in Europe and the world, what inspired you to take up the sport? And I guess in addition to that, what continues to drive you as you aim for the 2025 World Para Archery Championships in Korea?
Going back to my first initial days in Blind Veterans, they taught me archery as a part of my rehabilitation. And because it was Blind Veterans who actually started visually impaired archery back in, I think, 1972, I believe it was. So yeah, I mean, and that's why I took it up. And it was great. It's one of those sports that it's very inclusive. I mean, I know people who shoot with no arms, no legs. I'd even seen people shoot with it, holding the bow in one hand and shoot with their teeth because they've only got one arm. It's a very inclusive sport. And for somebody who's blind to do it as well, it's just brilliant. What drives me? It's just the competing. It's competing. The social aspect is just phenomenal. I mean, as I say, we fly to Korea now with the Great Britain team in September. Well, obviously, I'm looking for obviously sponsorship and what have you for that at the moment. But I mean, for me and my spot to go across there, it will be fantastic. And then hopefully in 2027, it should be over, or it will be in Canberra, Australia. And then we're pushing and hoping that VI Archery will actually be in the Paralympics in Los Angeles in 2028. So there's big things on the horizon, hopefully. And as I say, it's just a wonderful sport. And the fact that I get to meet so many different people, in and around, from around the world is just fantastic.
Well, Clive, I mean, you do us proud. And obviously, you carry the best wishes of all of us, both here in Craftcast and from the United Grand Lodge of England, as you head out to Korea. We'll all be supporting you, and please do bring back the lovely gold medal with you. And I'd love to.
No pressure or anything.
No pressure or anything.
This is only going out to the entire.
Well, we have had Paralympic gold medalists on this show before.
We have form. If you appear on Craftcast, you win.
Yeah. I actually said that when Mark just won his gold medal. I went, hang on, are we a good luck charm or something? They came and interviewed, then they went and competed and won gold. So well, the odds are in your favour, Clive.
Well, there you go then. Fingers crossed.
Clive, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Best of luck for career, as I say, and for your future endeavours. And yeah, look forward to hearing more about all the amazing things that you get up to.
Thank you very much, all of you. It's been lovely speaking to you.
Well, I think that was an absolutely fascinating and interesting conversation with Clive. Chaps, what did we think?
I always find it so inspiring when I hear about how Masonry doesn't become a barrier to people succeeding, but actually we support them and we do whatever we can to encourage them. And when he told the story about when he was a deacon and he was guided around by somebody, but still allowed to fully do the work, and it just speaks volumes about the level of support that Masonry gives. And then, you know, those out there that are uneducated, when we talk about supporting each other in Masonry, they have these wild conspiracy theories about back scratching. But actually, this is the reality of what we mean when we say we support one another.
Yes. And we obviously had the insight from Graham previously about, you know, how neurodiverse people, little amends that lodges can look to bring in order to make that experience within Freemasonry an enjoyable one for everyone. And I think one thing I really picked up from Clive was just how positive and how enthusiastic he was about his experience generally. And when he said, you know, actually, I didn't want help. I wanted to have my experience to be as sort of close to everyone else's as possible. I found that to be really, really interesting. And then, I mean, fair play to the guy who, you know, who in the face of that, you know, is now ADC in his lodge and is helping to run the show. I think it's really impressive, really good. Stephen, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, he clearly enjoys his Freemasonry, which is, you know, it's always lovely to see someone that enjoys their Freemasonry, but especially someone who could, I guess, in a lot of walks of life, very easily not enjoy things if he's not, you know, considered and thought about to make sure that his journey is, as he puts it, you know, the same as everyone else's. So, and yeah, to be an ADC, that's striving and a wonderful thing to see that he's achieving for the lodge as well. A great achievement for the lodge. And I thought, like you said, about the comparison to the neurodiversity stuck out to me about making it just accessible to everyone, and particularly like the ritual and the learning and things. So I guess there we've heard it from the horse's mouth. We've heard what a visually impaired person has to say about what we can do better. So I guess now we'll get in touch with him and see what we can do about that.
Absolutely. And I think something that we'll do as well when we promote this episode before it's released, we'll share relevant contact details for Clive. Just, you know, if anybody is facing similar challenges or knows someone who's in a similar situation, you know, Clive was very clear that he's happy to be contacted and wants to hear from people.
Yeah. Well, and this Masonic group, to get people with the similar sort of shared experience across the country together to, you know, make it better and keep it improving the facilities, the inclusivity for people with visual impairments. I think that'll be wonderful to see continue and thrive. And perhaps, you know, it really is my hope. I mean, we talk about, for example, the prostate episode that we've done, the mental health episode that we've done. I think those ones are really sort of massive for us personally, that we feel like we've makes it all worth it to have that kind of impact. So it's my hope, at least, that maybe to slightly lesser an extent, as it's not sort of so medical based, but still to improve people's enjoyment of Freemasonry, that perhaps we can really, try and make a difference with this.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us on this special episode of Craftcast. A wonderful insight into Clive's journey and his journey in Freemasonry and blind archery, which I'm still incredibly impressed by.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, I've seen it. Have you seen it at the Paralympic Games? It's incredible.
Yeah. It's so impressive. I just always find myself completely in awe of people who are able to do something like that. It's so inspiring to us all. So don't forget, you can email us, podcasts@ugle.org.uk. We are UGLE_Grand Lodge on X and United Grand Lodge of England on Instagram and Facebook. Please do get in touch with us. Send us your ideas, send us your comments. We love to hear them. And with that, we'll see you in the next episode. So goodbye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye for now.
Craftcast, the Freemasons podcast. The podcast is hosted by Sean Butler, Stephen Watley, and James Dalton. The producer is Marta Zandri, and the podcast is edited by Trisonic.